Okay, there we go. So um, let's start with the callouts. So callouts, you've got the main here. You've got the grass pack side over here. When people roll out, and you can roll out the cliff side over here. And then you've got the caution or dog bread. Is that part over there? And this is called concrete or cement. Theirs and ours, basically. And then this is the box or the crate right there. And then this right up here is Japan. And this up here is China right there. They call this the bridge. Up there's a cliff. This is important. This is the pocket. A lot of teams like to huddle in there. Then you have the rock right here. This is a death zone back in here. So not the best to roll out and hang there for very long. Let's see what else we have here. You get the house. So the house is this right here. You can see upstairs, downstairs if you want. Most people just say the house. This right here is called the porch. And then stairs are over by the cement. So these are the stairs right here. And you got both sides, of course. The map isn't completely symmetrical. It's basically you roll out different sides depending if you want to go cliff or the grass area too, by the way. As you can see, it's not a mirror. Then you got the connector. The connector is right here.
I'm hopping in. Is this
Okay.
a map review for everyone, or are we just...
This is a recap of yesterday at the start, and then we're going to get into class specifics. And I'm just asking that we hold questions, and then we're in spectate.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, so then the rollout. So everybody crouches for the demo, and the Sully is going to be equipped with a whip. The demo is going to roll out main, so he'll use stickies and go out there, and that'll be me. And then the whole blob goes through main, with the exception of the sniper. The sniper will roll out right, and the sniper has 3 different places he can go to. He can go up to the cliff, which is not bad, because of the line side down there. He can go to China, which is up here, and then the sniper can also go around to the porch area down through here, and work that way. Okay, so basically what will happen is, as a demo, I'll roll out through the main, come out through here, and I'll have a 1v1 fight with the other demo, and basically I'll try to damage him as best I can. Our scout, if it feels safe, should get in there and go for a pick if he can. If it's unsafe, then don't ingress on them. Just kind of hold back and pick away at them if you can. Once I'm done with my fight, if I'm still alive, which could be 50-50 or whatever, then I'll fall right behind the board here, and I will crouch. I'll probably be calling medic. The medic, as soon as he rolls out with the blob, everybody being whipped in the heavy and such, coming through main, then the med will be equipped with an arrow the demo, and he should be anticipating that coming around that corner right there. And basically, then what happens is once he arrows the demo, he's going to roll off to the cliff side here, and everybody is going to start forming up on the cliff side in the pocket here. And then the NG will build a dispenser right here. The NG will start off by putting a telly right here. He'll face the telly, so when you exit the telly, you're coming out, not going into the wall and have to spin around. That certainly helps. And then let's see here. The our Sully, he could jump behind. Our spy will do the spy stuff and kind of work behind there. Good place for the spy to hang is up in here. You can make a lot of calls and give us intel as to what's going on, or if he sees a nice juicy med pick or a demo pick, he can also do that. If they are clustered back here, our soldier can go ahead and jump. It needs to be orchestrated with the rest of our team. Say, I'm going to go ahead and jump behind a rock. Everybody get ready. And what we can do is we can come on the flank sides of the rock and work it from both sides as the soldier is creating the distraction, jumping in. After, the #1 goal is to kill their sniper too, and that should be something that the spy could focus on. Hopefully he's not using Razorback, but once we kill their their sniper, then we get free real estate here. And it all depends how good their sniper is. Some snipers aren't that much of a problem, some are a big problem. So if the sniper ends up being a big problem, then maybe our soldier can jump him, our sniper can focus him, and then our spy can go for a sniper pick. That would certainly help. And then once we get that free real estate, we can walk in, then we can start kind of advancing or start the furball then. The flank will be staying left, so the soldier and the scout, when you come to the main, then you'll come up this side. So the soldier, you could be shooting up through here or through here, and again, you can jump there if that's required. And then the scout will be here in the NG. Once he's got the telly up and the dispenser, he'll come over here and start putting up a wrangled mini sentry, probably right around here in this area here. And basically, it's a pretty powerful thing, the wrangled mini sentry on this map, actually. And then he'll be working with the flank, just picking away at them, trying to help and take their health down. And also, it's a good deterrent if you keep chipping at them, as they don't want to ingress onto the connector area right here. So those three will actually be working the flank side for the most part. Okay, so that's basically, and it doesn't mean we won't change it up, so we're not predictable. Could be that we all decide just to roll out the grass side. So I've seen some teams that go to the pocket every time, and so as a demo, you just know to keep spamming it every single time, and then they become predictable. So we might call for an opposite rollout, and we'll just kind of, that means that flank would be to the right and the combo would be to the left. Problem with the left is this is very choky through here, a lot of splash damage. If everybody's pushing up to here, it's not a good place to push. So it's not the desired spot, and that's why we're starting out on the pocket over there on the cliff. Okay, so the other thing too for the NG, if we start getting forward, we talked about putting your mini here. If we get our forward holding, you can go a little aggro and maybe put it like right in here, kind of facing back this way a little bit, and maybe unwrangle it if it works better for you that way. That's your call. Do your normal NG stuff. So holding mid, then we will, the combo will be in the pocket like we talked about over there. The heavy will be up on the cliff ready to drop down. So the heavy will be right up here. It's a really powerful spot for the heavy. And if they start, if we're going to uber defensively or we start to push, then he can certainly jump down onto this rock and come on in with everybody. One thing that was pointed out, if you're at mid and you see this health pack disappear, indeed, that is a spy that's picked up that pack. And all of a sudden you see that pack disappear, you can just call it spy at caution or dog bread. Either one works. And then anticipate the direction he's going. So if you see it disappear and they're over on this side, and by then the spy's probably moving, and he's probably going to be about here, and you can start taking shots where you think he would be, basically based on that. Okay, so holding mid. We talked about the heavy, we talked about the combo in the pocket, then avoid behind a rock. This is a death zone here normally. And then the combo, we have the pyro here, demo here, and demo will probably be peeking out, putting rollers and spamming out this way, heavy up there. Just be careful with their sniper, especially if he's on the concrete. So if he's got a line sight on you heavy, you might want to drop down or rotate a little bit so you're out of sight of the sniper. Then if they uber in and we have our pyro here with our combo, the pyro should be spy checking, hitting these corners, hitting up here, this quick little burst, and then you could come over here a couple times, just check real quick in the corners, come back to the combo, just watch for a sniper and make sure the sniper doesn't have a beat on you. A lot of little puffs, puff, 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 going around, maybe a little bit in the house here, just make sure the spy's not around. And I don't know about you, but for pyro, I like running a home wrecker on this map, so to help out the NG if the tele gets zapped.
Yep, definitely.
Okay, cool. And then that's your call, but that's what I like as pyro on this particular map.
Yeah,
and then,
same.
okay, good. And then, so if they come in with an Uber, and then we have an Uber advantage at that point, and we're going to use, then the mid needs to take the pyro in as a lead, and then I'll be behind the pyro as a demo, and I will be, the pyro will be air blasting back, thwarting their Uber in, and then I will be putting stickies where I think they're going to land from the air blast and getting juggled and that kind of thing, and try to pick them that way, or if I see other targets of opportunity as well. So we use our Ubers defensively, take the pyro demo second. Heavy should be behind and kind of spy checking, because a lot of times the spy will start rolling in as the Uber's on its way in because everybody's looking forward. So the other thing for the heavy is your anti-aircraft. So if you get a jumping soldier, you need to keep your eyes peeled and you just fire up on the air. Heavy watching for that, and that's a heavy responsibility, is pretty important actually. So, and then the pyro can help air blast jumpers and things like that too, but it's easier for the heavy to thwart a jump at a long distance. Not likely that the soldier is going to get an air shot, or the demo is going to get an air shot with a sticky. And then the heavy needs to check periodically. He could whip back on the cliff, just take a quick little burst of his minigun to make sure that there's no spies encroaching coming at him on the cliff. So I like, personally, as a heavy, I like mini on the minigun. But if you're more comfortable with Tomislav, I think this map can get a lot of close in sometimes. So the miniguns may be a little bit more effective if you have somebody real far away than a Tomislav, of course. But it's your call, whatever you're most comfortable with. And just personally in this map, I like minigun as a heavy, but that's just me. Okay, so if we are kind of I'll call it forward holding, but it's not true forward hold, but we've got the point. Okay, at this point, we want to make a defensive line straight across right here. And the soldier would be about here. We'd have our scout somewhere right around here. And then we could have our sniper here, where the rock's a really good place for the sniper. And we basically make a line of people right across here to hold them at bay. And heavy and our combo now would be into the caution dog bread area right through here. So we just rotate from here once we get the point, and they've lost some numbers to up into this area here. In this demo, then I'll be here spamming, and I'll probably be putting rollers up on the cliff too. And then our, depending where they're coming, our soldier, you can be spamming over here, or you can put some rockets right up in the cliff as well. And the scout, the tempting thing for the flank is sometimes to overextend. They get excited. So you don't want to overextend. You just want to be conservative with it. And then that way we're all working together in conjunction, all 9 of us, right across the point here. Let's see here. And a sniper, like I said, rock, probably good. And then crate box number 2. You're a little further away though from the med over here, so that's your call. But it doesn't hurt to change it up too. So again, you're not predictable. Not every time when we're up here, the sniper's on a rock each time. But just do a change up. So, okay, so that's kind of the forward hold. And let's say we get pushed back, and now we're going to re-push into them. The cliff is a good place to come in out of, because you have the high ground here, whereas down here you have the low ground. That side you have the low ground, and that's very choky. So the cliff is a preferred spot and method to come in at. Doesn't mean you do it 100% of the time. Again, predictability. So maybe change it up, but if it's working, try to focus coming in the cliff. And then maybe the sniper goes to China. He works to get a pick. And so the sniper will just kind of work around here. Once we get a pick, okay, we're going to go in on that if it's somebody good. Or maybe that's what we need if it's stalemate, or if we don't have a lot of time left and they have a time advantage, then we want to play them a little more aggro and be more apt to push in, or we have to try to make ends meet there. Okay, so this is another time where you can do a coordination. The Sully's going to jump and distract everybody, and then the rest of the team's going to come in and shoot them as they're all gawking up in the air, and their heavies doing their anti-aircraft thing. And maybe do a sack run. It's going to be a while before we're built, so the demo, the Sully, and the scout could all go in at once. We're going to sack and just call, okay, we're going to do a sack run, med hold back, 3, 2, 1, and we all just jump in there and trying to get them to force. There's probably going to be a mini, so the scout needs to be careful. If they have a mini here or whatever, scout needs to watch for that, so he's not taking hits on it. And depending what the gun side is, the scout may want to go opposite, or all 3 of us perhaps. We'll just have to see. Or maybe as demo, I'll stay back and just spam a little bit so I don't get right into the fray and die right away, hopefully. Okay, so just make sure that we have some kind of advantage before we push. And it could be an Uber advantage, it could be a numbers advantage. You just, if you're even and you have even numbers, it doesn't pay to push in, because guess what? You're going to Uber in, and then all of a sudden they're going to Uber, and now they've got a big advantage, and so you're kind of wasting it. You just have to make sure you keep working it to get that advantage. Unless it's a do or die situation, there's 10, 15 seconds left, and everybody just rush the point like a madman and just do the best you can. It'll be what it'll be. But that's the only time where it makes sense to do that. We're going to start off with crits, and we'll use crits for the first round or two. If crits isn't working, then we can always switch back to regular Uber. And then the thing for the med to remember is that the end is the time is getting low, maybe a minute to 45 seconds left. May as well go to crits regardless, because you're not going to have time to build the Uber all the way. So if you go crits, at least we have something's better than nothing, which would be an Uber that's never going to build in time, if that makes sense. Okay, so on the push-ins, so we'll have our scout as the lead, and then the demo will be right behind them on our push-ins or Uber all coming in. We have our advantage now. And then behind that, we'll have our pyro and our heavy coming right in. So it'll be, the order would be the scout, the demo, the medic, the pyro, and then the heavy. The heavy you might want to spin back from time to time, and so could the pyro, just little bursts. Watch out for spies, spy check. If it's spy time. If the spy's been dead for a while, it's time for him to be back up, then that would be it. And again, don't ever push from the concrete. It's very choky coming from the concrete that way. So, okay, so next will come the class specifics. So at this point, what questions we have aside from class specifics? Anyone, anything?
I think it makes sense so far. I was also thinking that on the sack waves, I would probably run Girardi potentially. So if anyone wants to make sure that they have they get comms on where the med is, I can just chuck that over the top, and I think we'll either be more likely to get a drop, or it'll make the medic very paranoid and probably easier to force as well.
Is it Sixes or Highlander?
This is Highlander, but I'm just showing this map on the Sixes server. Sorry. Okay, anything else? Okay, I'll get into class specifics. So the demo is 1v1 at the start, like I said, and the soldier should be whipping just about everybody. Probably doesn't need to do the scout. Don't whip the demo though. Specifically, don't whip the demo, because if you whip me, it's going to throw off my rollout, basically the stickies and all that, because I'm going too fast for what I'm used to. And if any time for the demo that I call follow up, that means I'm seeing a lot of 100s and 50s and things like that. So if I'm shooting into the blob or into the pocket like that, and I say follow up, then go ahead and roll in there. Now, if you have 20 health, obviously you don't want to do it. If I'm not seeing the numbers and they have big numbers, then don't do it. I'm just going by what my hits are. So it's okay not to do it if there's a situation that warrants it, or if they have numbers. But if I'm seeing a lot of damage and you guys can get in there, you have good health, and I say follow up, that's pick time. That means...
Is our medic here? I'm just thinking our medic should also this on previous sims I've played on, if our health is too bad to follow up on it, the person who would have the best info on what our overall team health is looking like would be the med. So I'm thinking sometimes the med would tell us yeah, that'd be a bad idea. We should, our health is too bad. We need to back up, get healed up, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I don't think the med's here. Is Iku, are you here?
He's not going
No, he's not here.
today.
Okay, we're recording this though, so he can watch this later.
All right,
So-
sounds good.
Yeah, good point, though. Okay.
Do you need a med?
So anyway, the scout, pyro and heavy, I mean, you guys get in there, soldier, if I say follow up. It's very important if we're running crits that once our medic gets about 80% or so, that everybody's quiet. And I just need med location. Hey, med's in the pocket, med's behind the house, med's on the grass, but he's way back. But try to be precise. Like med's on the grass side, but he's behind their health pack. Med's right in front of the stairs, kind of thing. Because when we crits, I'm gonna say use. The med will not use until I call use, and actually say the word use. Some meds say they get a little eager and they hit it beforehand. But once I say use, they should have their finger ready just to employ it immediately because I'll be priming. And so usually I start priming first, I say use, and then in we go. And if I know where the med is, then I have a good chance or estimation if I have good intel to where the crits is going to land and hopefully get them. Because this is really, this particular map is a lot about meds and killing their med. So you have that advantage again. It's a pretty important thing in this on product. So basically, once we hit about 75, 80, then nobody die too. Everybody just kind of hold back, and then usually the spy or the scout are instrumental in giving good intel. Okay, so for the med, you're going to stay crits, start crits, unless we change it later on. If we lose a round or two, then go to Uber. If crits just isn't working. Meds tend to get frustrated, and sometimes if you get in on one crits and it doesn't work, and crits is work about half the time, 50-50, I'd say. Sometimes, you know, if it's a bust, then a med, his instinct is, let's go back to Uber right now. But we need to give it an honest try, and that's what scrimming's about. If by the time we're done scrimming this and crits just isn't working for us, then we can always start off with Uber for the actual match. But I'd like to go ahead, and it's a little bit more risky starting off with crits. It's non-traditional, but I think it works good for me as long as I'm gelling well with the medic. And then also the med should always go crits at the end of a round before they run out of time, like I said before. And then again, the med never uses the crits until the demo uses the magic call use. You know, and it also, as we're coming in with crits, I need a couple players around us, ideally like a heavy or a soldier or a scout that can pick up the crits if I get sniped on the ingress or killed. It happens, and if our med goes down, then it's kind of, that's it, you know, we're done. So hopefully we can kill whoever before one of us dies. But sometimes it can be very devastating to their team too. We can get 4 or 5 people with the crits, and then following up isn't that big of a deal. From that point, we have so much more numbers than them. And then we never want to sit and hang on to crits too long, because then they get an Uber, then they counter. So we want to use crits right away. So that's why it's important to get good intel, and we just don't sit there and some teams might actually sit and spawn and build. So that's a good deterrent in a way too, but that's a good way to counter it, or they'll go crits as well. So that's pretty common. And then again, when I use crits, I'll say use, I won't even see the med. I'll just estimate right where he's at and hopefully hit him. And then sometimes he runs and you can nail him that way. Or sometimes they're really fast, a good med, he'll go back to Uber real quick, and then that's it. Then you just try to kill who you can and get out of dodge if you can. And that can be a failed push in if that happens. Okay, and then if their med gets picked by our spy, then that's great. Then we can go into a big group with their players, even if their med's down too. Okay, and then the scout on this map is very important. The med needs to give the scout a lot of buffs. The scout, you need to command the buffs because you're excellent pick class, moving around and you heal real quick, you're 185. So just keep bipping around and come back to the med and just do your medic calls or whatever, and then just re-engage. And the med should know to focus you on this map in particular. And we talked about the Uber, so he would use on the pyro defensively already. Okay, so for the Pootis, be ready to throw the medic a sandwich. And you'll be hanging out with the combo mostly. We talked about some of the positioning up on the cliff. It's a good spot right around this pocket here is a good spot. For any other side, probably around the concrete to around there is a good spot. Just watch for sniper line sights. We talked about the mini over the Tomislav. Spy check a lot behind you. You're kind of an important spy checker, just a little burst of your minigun. See if you can illuminate the spy. And then when the timing's right, and then again, you're an important anti-aircraft class. So for all jumpers, if somebody calls jumper or bomber, then you just fire up as they're coming in there, and hopefully you stop their momentum and they drop down to the ground. Sully, we talked about the flank positions. We talked about the bombs, and then use your whip. That's important to get everybody out to mid pretty fast, especially the med and heavy are important ones to whip on going out, and don't ever whip the demo. We talked about the pyro, so you're going to air blast a lot. Puff, 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 puff. We talked about puffing up there, puffing in here. Come over here real quick, check the corners, then come on back to your combo. puff, 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 looking for spies all around, hanging out. And if you illuminate them, then you try to track them down or chase them down. They have icicle, I know can be tough, and they can outrun you and get away. But call out if he's behind us. If you know he's there or in the house or wherever. Okay, so then if we need intel, the scout, you may have to take a little bit of risks and check to see where their med is. Peek real quick and try to get out. Just don't die doing it to the best of our ability. And then our spy will hopefully be making good progress in the intel there too. And then we talked about demanding buffs for the scout, a very important class in this particular map. Sniper, if you're going to stay far back and you're not going to come up with a combo like onto the rock or onto the box if we're forward holding, you may want to use Razorback if you're back here and here because of the spies, or down here, because then you make a nice spy pick. So if you opt to stay back mostly and you're comfortable with that, that's cool. Just Razorback it would be my suggestion, or 2 cents worth. I don't play Sniper, so I don't know much about the class, but that's just my 2 cents worth. And then Spy, we talked about this edge cliff yesterday, and then Lifemar was talking about the corners where he loves to hide in there too. And even a scout, you can take a couple of pot shots here and there, just spy checking too if the pyro's down, or a soldier can put a rocket up here periodically, maybe just one, and just keep them honest basically. Okay, then the spy can be back here, and once we're doing our distraction thing, then he can roll in for the kills. So we can coordinate that. That would be a nice thing to do, coordinate with the spy, or zapping the gun. Okay, I'm ready to zapping now if they have like a level 3 or whatever, and then as a demo I can come up and start working the gun. Maybe we don't need to Uber in to get it, kind of thing. Or soldier with rockets can spam the guns at long distances. Usually it's hard for the pyro or scout to get in there and get around guns, and that's sort of a nemesis for them. So heavy, you can sit there with your minigun or your Tomislav and just hold it down on minis and take them down that way too. So I would say the demo, the soldier and the heavy are pretty important classes to get the little guns down. And then our spy should be focusing the med, the sniper, and the demo basically. Okay, then the NG, you're basically the harassing class. You got your wrangled mini on the concrete, and then we talked about putting it up here. Then you'll just have your shotgun for the aggro. And then you'll have your shotgun, just keep picking away at them, pick. Deterrent, hey, I don't have full health, I don't want to push in yet. So then we're buying time to help the time run down. Then you're gonna start putting the tele in the house, and then eventually then you'll put your tele up in Japan, which is a really good spot to have the tele, because it's hard for them to see, and eventually they'll catch on. Maybe a scout or soldier will pick it off, but then you can rotate it between the 2 spots. I don't know if there's other really good tele spots, and that makes it hard for the pyro on that one to use the home wrecker. But in here, the pyro can get it, and you just call, hey, my tele's zapped, hey, my dispenser zapped, hey, my mini zapped. If the pyro's up, maybe or maybe not, that the pyro can get to it and help you out some. And then and then after that, then the NG works with the flank after everything's set up, and that's about all I had for the different classes. Any questions?
Yes. Let's see. So on the Ubers where we're holding, and it's being used in Omni Pyro, it's more important for me to be keeping people off the point than getting damage, if I follow correctly, right?
Well, I would say thwart their Uber, so if you can air blast them back. Now, keep in mind, if we're running crits, we're going to be running, right? And so if we're running crits most of the time, to be honest with you, using the Uber back into them is not a factor. You basically you run until our Uber's faded, and then we get back in on them. And sometimes that can actually be a good crits opportunity, assuming our medic can make it out alive. And the reason being, because there'll be a bunch of them on point capping, and now you come back at them with crits, and you can do a lot of damage as they're trying to cap, because you get a big blob of them here. That being said, if you're going to Uber back at them, I just keep air blasting them back. And a lot of times you get peripheral people hanging here. You can start coming in here with pyro and working the pocket. If they have their little town built in here with dispensers and miniguns and anyone back here, it all depends. If they're back here, they're probably not going to be the best team in the world because of the death zone and hanging there.
Mhm.
You know, they'll probably be in the pocket like us. And what you could do is our Uber last just come on in the pocket and just start taking stuff out. And then once it starts fading, then just kind of get back out of dodge, and then we can regroup and see where we're at. Or if you're going in and they've got 3 up and we've done a lot of damage and killed a bunch, but usually if they're Ubering in, that won't be the case. But if that is the case, then you can continue to press and see who we can get. But you don't want to forward hold normally. If you did, I mean, we put our combo here, we put our flank up here, our flank would spam there and there, and our NG would be out there supporting him, probably with a mini up. And our combo, a lot of teams like pushing the cliff, so our combo could thwart that pretty effectively there. Problem is it's very risky and it's just a temporary solution. So I would say not normally a good place to do it. It's better just to hold our line right across the sand, right through the mid here with our flank here and here. Did that answer the question?
Yes. I have
Okay.
one other Pyro specific question. What secondary, in your opinion, is best for me to run? I've been using shotgun, but I'm wondering if like squirt shot might not be good for, or rather, if squirt shot might be good for like harassing sniper if he's more forward.
I've used the flare gun in the past too. I personally just use a shotgun. I mean, once they're burning, I
Okay.
start running and I hit them in the back as people are running.
Mhm.
But some pyros are very good with the scorch shot too, right? I
I
mean,
mean, which one are you more comfortable with, Otter?
Probably squirt shot, although I am trying to get better with shotgun, so
Like, how's your hit scan versus projectile aim?
bad. I'm much better with projectiles than hit scan.
Okay, then you should probably go with the projectiles then.
Okay.
Any of them
I
can be
agree.
effective, but just
Okay.
whichever works best for you.
Okay.
and that's true of all classes. I mean, I'm just throwing out recommendations based on what I know. It doesn't mean if there's something you like that works better for you, and also positioning. If there's something you like that works better for you, I mean, this shouldn't be the Holy Bible, and you're just going to do it regardless. So there should be flexibility there.
Yep, that's
But
true.
this is just a guideline. Okay, who else? Okay, well that's it then. So, thank you.
Oh, actually, wait, one question. Regarding the teleporter, when is it right to build in Japan as opposed to the house?
I'd say as time permits because that's a stronger place. So I would say you start with it here, but once everything is looking good, once we're holding mid, then NG can run back and then start working it in Japan.
Alright, thanks.
That's my 2 cents worth. I think to me, in my opinion, and you'll hear different opinions, it's important to get people cycling through. And because cycling through, now you got defensive right here. If people have to hoof it from spawn, then you're kind of short that number since they have to hoof it all the way from spawn to here. So I look at the tele is actually more important than the dispenser and the minigun, in my opinion, just because you need bodies to protect. And if you don't have bodies here, it's easier to lose the point. So with the tele, people can basically come through here pretty quick and help defend. If you got a minigun up and you have no tele, hey, it's a gun picking at somebody, but the gun can go down to a rocket. And if you have a dispenser here, hey, if they get aggro, they can go down. But people here coming to the tele can be actually here defending guns and defending the teles. So I just look at it as that order of priority, in my opinion, should be the tele first and keep that up. I don't know about you, JT. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I agree. The
I've heard
tele
some
is by
people
far the most
say the
important.
dispenser is number 1 or the mini's number 1, but I think the tele is. 10 different teams will have 10 different ways, so. Okay, good question. Anything else?
I have a question that isn't relevant to this team because I'm playing Pyro here, but I play Medic on my Sevens team. So I have a question about you were talking about using crits the first couple of times, see how it goes. If it's working, stick with it. If the enemy team switches to crits, does our medics still stay on crits, or should they switch to Uber?
Well, that's a good question. First of all, in sixes, I don't like crits near as much as Highlander. Why? Because there's fewer targets,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to be more pinpoint accurate as a demo to hit 6 people. For down one, now you got 5 people, and they tend to scatter like cockroaches when you're rolling with crits.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it very tough. So I almost prefer running Uber in a sixes environment. 7 is
Mhm.
probably one more than sixes, so I would say it would probably be about the same. That being said, in sixes sometimes we'll change it up just to catch them off guard, but I don't have near the success rate in sixes as I do on Highlander with crits for that reason.
That's a good point. And there's also the potential for like more slower classes in Highlander,
That's
or
true, and
just less
heavies and things like
mobility in
that.
general.
Yep, and I don't know what the 7th class in sevens are versus sixes.
It varies widely. It's kind of up to individual teams. Generally, the only thing that's consistent across teams is, well, obviously medic and demo. And the other classes, it's kind of whatever they're comfortable with. There's not really a strong meta yet.
Well, my 2 cents worth would be run Ubers, and then if it gets down to 1 minute left, then go to crits right then
Gotcha.
at the end. And a good medic should know to do that. Unfortunately, a lot of them don't. They come out of the spawn running Uber, and they just have a missed opportunity right there. So but if you're set on crits, and the other team's running crits, you could try it. You have to be the first one to crits on them, so you have to look at advantages. And if you're doing Uber and they're crits, I mean, that's a very strong thing. You just have to watch, and the medic has to have his finger ready to activate Uber instantly once they hear the word crits. And the teammates need to call it really fast so you can counter, and then you just come right back into their face with Uber. So you have to look at advantages. The med has to pick that when he's in spawn. The med should always go crits right at the very end if he dies. If he doesn't die, then it is what it is. And personally, in sevens, I probably wouldn't start off with crits. And this is risky again, even starting off with crits in Highlander. But if I'm gelling with a medic, it can be very, very powerful. And I play differently with different meds. And so I figure it doesn't hurt to try this out in the scrims. And if it's working and we're gelling, then by all means, let's continue on with it. If it's not working and we're losing scrims and things like that, then we should go back to Uber as a start and then just do crits at the end.
Yeah, that's essentially what I've found as well. Like, if I really trust the demo I'm playing with and like I'm confident in their ability to do something with the crits, then I'll usually stick with it. If I'm not sure, obviously I'm just gonna run Uber.
And the other thing too, intel from the scout and the spy is extremely important. And in Highlander, as you know, the comms can be a circus. And so it's really hard sometimes for me to hear exactly where the med is, or I'll just hear the med's on the left, or something like that. Well, where on the left? And I don't get that precise thing, but I'll say, let's rotate. I'll say, get ready, and then use. But if they can say, hey, he's right at the pack, or he's right at the foot of the stairs, or he's at main, kind of thing, and he's back about 30 feet past main, or he's behind a house. I usually don't try to wrap and get him from the house there. It's a tough place to get with crits. I'll probably die going in there, but getting good intel and everybody being on board, but they need to be quiet so people can hear the intel. That's part of the crits game. So that's an important thing, is everybody just needs to hush or echo it, to make sure that I hear it. Okay, anyone else? Okay, that's it. I appreciate it. Hope that helped.
Yeah, definitely.